Alright, in today's debate of should victims be able to punishment.
Hi.
Without further ado, Prime Minister, you have the floor. Here. Woo!
What do we do? Who cuts like this?
In debate, that's how you do it.
Why is it working?
Jamie, stop.
Jamie,
Yeah?
come on up.
Jamie, do that for 1 hour.
Okay, oh wait, I didn't know.
Guilty look.
Okay.
Hmm?
Drink, break.
Okay. Okay, oh wait, why is it a timer show?
Ah!
You okay?
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Well, why did I scream?
Yeah, why did you scream? What's up?
Okay.
Where's the magnet?
Jamie.
Yeah? This doesn't work, there's no magnet.
And just hold it.
Okay, I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, Mr. Madam Speaker. I'm the Prime Minister in today's debate. Today we are here to propose the motion: should victims get to forgive and stop punishment? The context in the debate is that the victim can choose to forgive or not forgive, and depending on the choice, then the offender can get a punishment or not get a punishment. Also, the criminal justice, works for the victim, not the offender. And then the goal of this debate is for the victim to have more power and forgive the offender or not forgive. Before stating our team's first 2 arguments, I would like to do the setup in today's debate. The definition of victim is someone who got hurt from a crime. To forgive is to not get mad at somebody and towards someone anymore. And the offender is the person who did something to hurt the victim. The status quo is all criminals have punishment based on how severe the crime that they did. All offenders. And the stakeholders are criminals, or victims, and society. For criminals, there can be different type of criminals, such as criminals who did different crimes, and the crimes can be something like murder or even just stealing or doing, and those can be the different types of offenders. The second is the victims. Victims can be separated in the way they're hurt, for example, mentally or physically, and then just society as a whole. Now I'll say our team's first 2 arguments. Our team's first argument is victim choice. Victims are the one who got hurt or emotionally or mentally or physically hurt, so they know how bad it was. If they got lots of trauma, then maybe they won't forgive. But if it wasn't that bad, then maybe they can forgive the offender. So the victim knows what happened. So the victim should have the right to. So the victim should have the right to choose if it's very severe or not that severe, because nobody else will know what the victim is going through except the victim. So the victim knows enough to see if it was very severe or it was just not that severe. So that was our. No, thank you. So the victim can choose if it was very severe or not severe, so they can forgive or not forgive. So the offender can get the punishment or not if they forgive Our team's second argument is the offender can get healed, because if the victim forgives the offender, then the offender can, because if they don't forgive, the offender can think, oh, I'm such a bad person, I'll always be a bad person. But if the victim forgives the offender, then the offender can think, oh, I did something wrong, but it's okay because they forgave me. So now I'll try to do the right thing. So they won't go back to crime like most people, like most of them do, because most offenders would go to jail, and they would go back and they won't be able to get a job because it's on their record, and then they will go back to crime because because it's hard to get a job and they want to get out of life. So it can help the offender actually heal. Now, in conclusion, Mr./Madam Speaker, what I told you in my speech, I talked about our team's first argument, which was victim's choice, and also our second argument, which was offender's healing. For both of these reasons, I am proud to propose.
Okay, thank you.
Oh shoot!
Oh,
Oh
you
shoot!
okay?
The
You can
magnet
put
doesn't
forward.
work. The magnet actually doesn't work.
Is it weird?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like it
Can I
falls.
press this?
Sure.
Where?
Here.
You have to write your speech.
Yeah,
in
you
that,
can
no?
do 2-minute speech.
Yeah, you can do 2-minute speech and do lots of signposting.
Yeah.
I'll do 4-minute speeches.
Okay, but do lots of signposting.
No signposting.
No.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the next speaker. Think well.
I'm the judge. Think well.
You can give me 0.
No, but he can score himself.
He's gonna score himself.
So you did it.
Me? I did. I said our team's first argument. I did right, Elsa.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear it. Yeah, because you weren't focusing. I did right, Elsa. I did.
don't know what to do.
No, it's so bad.
Yeah,
Well, you know, I did better than last time.
You did better than. Yeah. No, that was Yeah, I guess.
I did pretty
I
good.
think it's the first time we see you have skills.
No, it's my second time.
And he got trauma.
Yeah, I got trauma. Just.
I'm sorry.
If Jeff does bad, then I'm not going to be. You're not going to be my teacher. Okay, you start.
You have to show your shinya to Elsa so she can approve.
Yeah.
So can I go?
No.
Last time?
Actually, no.
Can I do it like last time?
It doesn't mind to you, Jamie.
Never mind. It's okay.
Never mind to you.
Oh, true. But I want our team to win, so I.
We do have a reply then. We will have a.
No, we won't have a reply.
But we can't win.
We didn't get ready for a reply.
But we can't win.
Yeah, we don't win.
No.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
true.
win.
We
You
can't.
can win.
We
Yeah,
can't.
because you're going to
Yeah.
score yourself.
You want to
No,
score
no.
yourself 75 everything like last time.
I'll start my speech in 3,
You what?
2.
Oh, sorry.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Mr. Speaker, in a world where punishment is now defined by the way we feel, the biggest problem that we find is in what situations can we stop using feelings and emotions to decide what the punishment is. As the opposition, we'll prove to you that justice, and especially the criminal justice system, should not be based on any type of emotions, but on clear laws and clear legal experts. Knowing this, let's go with the first 2 rebuttals. The first argument given by the government side talks to us about how this empowers victims and is able to improve their lives by giving them a choice to be able to punish these victims. 2 things. Number 1, while this might be true to some extent, at the end of the day, it's not really true when you realize that majority of these victims probably don't want to opt in to forgive. But secondarily, it is that even if they do forgive, there's a high chance that many of these victims have been pressured by social or religious or many other different kind of things to do this. Second rebuttal they give, especially about the idea of being able to have the criminals to become actual successful workers in the society after they get out of jail. They fail to do 2 things. Number 1, prove to us why this is necessary. If the criminal justice system is working for the victim, why should we also prioritize the criminal's sense of guilt? That's a very big gap that they haven't proved, and something that the Deputy Prime Minister definitely has to mention. Then, what is the context and extra context today? It is that while the criminal justice system does work for the victims, we must also have consistency. For example, if in one case they kill a family of 4, just because the remaining survivor forgives this one person does not mean that you should not send them to jail or stop them from sending to jail. there's two arguments to be made from this. Number one, on the reason why crime itself actually hurts everybody and not that individual victim. When we think about it, crimes and murders happen every single day, and they happen to different people at all the different times. When this occurs, probably you need a clear system or a clear law that tells everybody that you will get punished. But the moment a victim is able to forgive them and limit or change their punishment, this idea that crime is bad and you should never do it changes. It is the idea that now, when you do commit a crime, as long as you seem like you repent, as long as you act, or not act, but as long as you look like you actually do regret your actions, you're able to go home free. And this is the problem, what happens here. Because it affects everybody, the biggest point is many of these victims are probably going to also be equally pressured in order to forgive people. But secondarily, the biggest reason and the biggest impact would be that the government side the government side will now allow these victims to choose things for others. Which goes to the second one. When this occurs, it's not fair for a lot of people, especially many criminals. And the biggest problem here would be the idea and the same idea of consistency. When, for example, a criminal goes to jail for the exact same crime as another person, but is able to leave jail very soon, one will probably complain about such issues. But secondarily, the same thing will go for normal citizens. They'll probably say that this is an unfair policy and will probably tell you that they do not want to live in this type of society. We're going to talk about why these victims are going to be pressured in the next speech. But without further ado, very, very proud to oppose. Thank you.
You should understand that. But you didn't say the value.
Yeah.
I didn't have a value. Then point it out. What's the value that I'm protecting?
Oh wait, I forgot to say
Right.
our value. Wait, did I say value? Oh, I forgot to say that. So you say our value.
Alright.
You didn't tell me the value.
I told you.
Better society.
Yeah.
Bye.
Huh?
She's dead. Wait,
Why?
I made my crossback a handy back.
You didn't do signpost thing alone.
I
did
did.
it.
I did. My first argument is this, and then I went on to...
Yeah, I made it my fanny pack.
Sorry.
I made it super small, so now it's a fanny pack. It's cool, right, Elsa? You see crossback now, it's a fanny pack. Oh, you're sure you really good.
I don't wanna do debate right now.
Let's change your rules.
Just right now.
Yes.
You don't have rebuttals.
It's okay. It's okay.
You're so calm. It's like, it's okay.
Okay, it's okay. You want to change your rules?
No.
Because she doesn't want to do it.
True.
It's true.
Be quiet.
Hey. Be respectful.
Yeah, be respectful.
You too, Jamie. Right, Elsa?
What did I do?
I'll start my
I said Jamie. Yes.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, Mr. Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, Mr. Madam Speaker. I'm the DPM in today's debate, and I'm going to present our team's third argument, which is personal healing. Mr. Madam Speaker, before presenting our team's third argument, I would like to rebut a few key points brought to us by the previous speaker in this debate. I will counter rebut. He said the same people who did crime, maybe stealing, then one person can go out of jail very early, but we're saying that the opinion goes into the judge, and maybe the victim can, and the judge doesn't know the feeling of the victim, and the victim's choice, they're making choice because they want to, and they're ready for it, and they want to be out of the thing, and it causes depression and sadness after the crime happens. Then they want to move out of that feeling, and they wanna and criminals also want to maybe make their new life and maybe live as a kind person. And Mr. Madam Speaker, I'll present our team's third argument, which is personal healing. It makes him feel a little down and calm to both criminals and victims if victims make choices to forgive them or not to forgive them. And from victim's decision can control the victim's feelings, and the criminals will learn a lesson, and from their attitude the victims can choose their punishment. And maybe the judge can decide with the victim's punishment, not victims being the judge. This is why it changes their feelings, and it makes them a lot better, and they can heal mentally afterwards. Afterwards, they make the choice to maybe make the choice to forgive them or just not to forgive them. In conclusion, Mr. Madam Speaker, what have I told you in my speech? I have successfully rebutted the LO's arguments, and our third argument, which is personal healing. So, for these reasons, I am very proud to propose.
Also,
Oh my gosh.
They can speak us for 3 minutes.
Throw those away. What?
I didn't write anything.
What did?
I used my notebook and my head.
Also, good job.
All right.
Better than me last time.
I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1.
Won't begin.
Mr. Speaker, when the Deputy Prime Minister does not explain to us why it is important to then secure the rights of the criminals in a system that is supposed to work for the victims, I think then the government has nothing to actually argue about. Let's take their best case and their best arguments. Their best arguments today were their third argument that comes up is on the idea that there's going to be it allows. Sorry, completely lost that on the third argument. I think we'll just go straight into the rebuttals for their previous rebuilding. First thing about the idea of why forgiveness from the victims occurs, and especially on the moving on part of many criminals and victims, I think is an okay mechanization. However, what it clearly lacked was the impact of why this should be, number one, followed. Number two, they don't explain what happens after the criminal is out of jail. But lastly, they never engage with our situation of what happens when a victim was actually pressured to forgive a certain criminal. This is going to be our third argument, and it's also going to fully rebut their third argument as well. In the third argument, then, we're going to explain to you that many times victims are actually pressured to forgive this criminal. Three reasons why. The first reason is because majority of many victims, probably end up in a cycle of depression, as mentioned by the Deputy Prime Minister. This means that their level of reasoning is not clear at that moment. It actually takes a lot of time for them to do so. But the reason then they come, but what happens when they hear from people that having the ability to forgive someone will also set you free, will also allow you to be quote unquote it allows you to move on. probably then there's going to be a social pressure in which these victims are going to forgive these criminals even though they haven't fully accepted that choice. The second reason why this happens is because there are different reasons that might occur behind the doors to actually have the victims forgive the criminals. This looks like, but is not limited to, briberies, right? Or settlement cases. For example, what happens if you don't, there's a small secret dealing of a very wealthy person, or not even that, about other people that you know that are related to that person, in which they beg you to forgive them. In those cases, this will equally occur because of the reason that you probably don't want to lose this opportunity of being able to get wealthy, or probably in order to stay close to these people. Which goes to the third reason as to why there's going to be pressure. Majority of these crimes actually occur in very close-knitted communities or just relative to each other. They probably know of this victim, and the criminal does know about the victims themselves. Meaning, probably these victims are already pressured from the get-go when they see the criminal. Because they also understand that they had some type of connection before, probably what will happen is many of these victims are now being pressured by their own communities to actually do so. Why is this terrible then at the end of the day? Let's say that a victim does forgive, and let's take every single best argument that comes out of them. Sure, there is some type of power and agency. Sure, there is some type of empowerment, and especially a criminal beings are able to actually forgive themselves. But the biggest reason why this fails is because what happens if the victim makes a mistake in the middle? But secondarily, what happens then if the criminal does not actually repent, but is acting upon this? These are the two things and the biggest gaps that are left in the government's case. If the government whip does not answer these questions, then the government loses today's debate. Without further ado, Prime Minister, you have the floor.
What did the teacher say to?
I forgot.
You have to write it down.
I wrote it.
You wrote it down?
What did the teacher say?
I forgot.
He counter-rebutted and then
Teacher, did you make mistakes on purpose?
No,
Did you make mistakes on purpose?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
There's a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us after the debate?
Then
Tell us every single one of the mistakes. We'll count them.
Okay, sure.
And next time we'll make how many you have to do. You have to make at least.
Teacher, but
110
similar as
mistakes.
last time. The mistakes are similar as last time.
My mistakes?
Yeah, your mistakes.
Yes.
Oh,
Quite
I
similar.
was saying the same thing.
But at the same time, I did add other things.
And it's a different motion.
I think I'm going to get 16.
You didn't clap.
Yeah.
No, okay. So Hosan said 60 is basically you just went up on the stage and cried. 61 is you talked but it didn't make any sense. 62 is you went up and talked for at least 1 minute but it didn't make any sense. And then 64 you know. Because of Aiden and DJ.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, Mr. Madam. Teacher, wait 1 minute.
You're so bad.
Yeah.
Oh. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, Mr. Madam Speaker. I am the government whip in today's debate, and I'm going to present our clashes in today's debate. Before presenting my clashes, I want to review the key points brought to us by the previous speaker in the debate. The third argument presented by the DLO was that many times victims are pressured. However, during the speech, the Enoch says that Mr. Hammond said that if we forgive, we can go on more smoothly, but the victim may not fully accept the outcome. But however, the victim forgives the person, so it doesn't actually matter. And then if the other team states that if we forgive we can go on more better, then it is somehow related to our side, and therefore the third argument on being pressured does not stand. To sum up the main points in today's debate, the proposition under the value of better society had three arguments, which was victim's choice and and offenders' healing and personal healing. The opposition under the value of I, they didn't say the value, had 3 arguments. Crimes and murders does not happen to individuals, and when this occurs, it is not fair for all people, and many times victims are pressured. And now I'm going to talk about the 2 clashes I have identified in this debate. The first clash is victim's choice versus crimes and murders does not happen to individuals, and the second is it is not fair for all people versus personal healing. First, the crimes and murders does not happen to individuals. It's not true because some crimes and murders, even though some other people is sometimes related, most times it can happen to individuals. Also, victim's choice is more important than happening to individuals, because even though it happened to individuals, the individual is making the choice, and if it is related, the related people is also making the choice together. So we can see how this clash clearly goes to the proposition side. The second clash in this debate is it is not fair for all people versus personal healing. In this speech, the person said that it is not fair for people like the criminals, but this speech is about, the motion is about victims, so it does not match to the debate. So also, it is somewhat fair to the criminals, because since victims are making the choice, they are thinking about which is fair or not. And then also the victims are making the choice, and then they are directly affected by the motion. So if they make the choice to forgive them, then it is not bad to the criminal and the victim, because victims are satisfied and the criminals are also satisfied. Also, personal healing, since it is fair for all people, like I rebutted, personal healing is more important, because it is anyway fair. In conclusion, Mr. Madam Speaker, whatever I told you in my speech, I talked about our team's 2 clashes and showed all of them the opposition cases. The proposition cases clearly superior to those of our opponents. For all of these reasons, I am proud to propose.
Wow!
Okay, thank you. Speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 13 seconds.
Jane's speech was definitely the hardest. Hey, you did good, you did good.
I think I will get 60.
No.
I think I'll get flat.
No, but it's not 60 because Hosan said that.
Yes.
Yeah, like
Okay, so you talked. Okay. I'm not saying that you'll get this. I'm not trying to say that you get this. I think you got a really high score. But if you think that you got the lowest score, probably like 64. If you think that you got this lowest score. 60 is just going up and not talking. 61 is talking for like 1 second. 62 is like talking for about a minute, but that doesn't make sense. 63 is talking for a really short time, and it kind of makes sense. And 64 is talking for a good time, but it's not the bad.
Okay. I'll give my final speech.
Wait,
in three.
you're doing the whip speech.
Yeah.
Why?
Just listen to it, just so everybody is able to find out, right?
No.
Can you give me the points today?
Yeah.
Oh, really? You can give this score today? Last time you gave it
Yeah.
on Thursday.
No, I gave it on Wednesday.
Yeah, I every month.
Okay.
Monday, I was like, did it come? You guys, you said
I'll do
it
it
would come
on-
on Monday.
Yes.
You're so mean.
No, it's because I had to check and give better feedback, right?
Don't
I'll
give
begin my
better feedback,
speech in
just do
3,
it.
2, 1. So, Mr. Speaker, I think at the end of the day, the side that is able to prove that, number 1, victims are actually going to be more prepared and live a better life, and number 2, the side where a government is able to protect its citizens without pushing or having any unfair punishments is the best side. The biggest point that we want to make in today's debate is that the government wasn't able to prove these 2 things. Moving on to the rebuttals to what the whip just mentioned. The first argument or the first rebuttal that they also make, they explained to us that the governments that we didn't really point out what why these criminals were going to somehow deserve such type. How these victims are able to understand this rationally, especially will understand that what they are making and doing all these choices are actually going to work out. I think the government whip is getting confused when they don't engage fully with us, especially in the idea that they might be pressured. If the government side does want to tell us that if the government side does want to tell us that these people are fully knowing what they're going to be choosing to do, for example, forgive, that the government side should really tell us why they are A, going to actually understand what they're doing, but B, they also have to engage with our case. Which means that in the clashes, we're going to be doing all these two. First clash that we identified today's debate was who has more priority, the ability to have a better or more consistent criminal justice system, or to allow personal healing of a victim. Now, the government side really does talk about how there is going to be some type of healing under their side. A, they don't truly explain what this healing looks like. They never explain what kind of depression or cycle they go through. They only mention it once. They never explain why forgiving a victim or a criminal is going to lead them to suddenly break out and become better or just like healthier. Number two, the reason why this argument and this clash doesn't really make sense to the government side is because they never explain to us why it is necessary or why it's necessary for these criminals to actually get away from things scot-free if they do, for example, lie in order to get this kind of forgiveness. However, what did the opposition say to you today? And the reason why fairness is true. Fairness, it comes from the idea that crimes occur to everybody, right? So this could also equally apply to every single speaker here. When this occurs, you probably want a proper punishment in which you're able to actually give out punishments accordingly to their crimes. Second reason why, or the second thing that the opposition says, and was the entire government's opposition's case in the second one, on the third argument about the social pressures that victims face, we tell you that many of the times that these victims are forced to choose for this type of forgiveness, the sincerity and the fairness for everybody in the criminal justice system goes down, eventually leading them to not trusting in the system. Right? And this is much more important than whatever personal healing argument that comes from the proposition. What's the second clash in today's debate? It is on the idea of whether or not the government is able to get that personal healing. Opposition side says we don't know if there is going to be personal healing, but what we will say is there are going to be people who are more or less dissatisfied with their decision, which is the reason why we must first of all always make sure that these people clearly know what they're doing before they even make a decision. But we also tell you that they probably will not, especially when they are literally right after a crime. They still have the trauma going on and etc. So what did we have to do today? Nothing, because government side didn't prove anything. For all these reasons, very, very proud to propose. Thank you.